This is Salvia mexicana Limelight. So one of the more popular salvias, and you can see why in this really nice example here. The bract around the flower is this nice chartreuse color, framing a very intense blue-purple flower. And on top of that, the deer reliably leave this alone. This is in Pacific Grove, California. It's a coastal town, very moderate temperatures. The high temperatures yearly are usually only in the 60s. So pretty mild temperature, and also right by the ocean, gets a lot of fog. But a lot of deer in this yard, and so it's a good testing ground for deer tolerance. So what you see here is about a 2-year-old plant. It is about 3 to 4 feet wide and about 5 feet tall, and it reached that size almost within a year from a 5-gallon container, which is pretty true to perennials in general, but especially salvias. If you put them in the right conditions, they're pretty fast growing plants. They reach maturity in a hurry, which I've always liked. So this is, to me, an interesting plant in a couple of ways. In mild areas like you see here, they do not get frost. Their low temperatures generally are down in the 40s Fahrenheit, and that allows this plant to bloom a lot more out of the year than you would get in an inland situation where you're starting to get some frost. The frost tolerance on this plant is in the low 20s, and that's how it is where I live. I live in an inland valley in Northern California where it gets in the 20s Fahrenheit and up in the 90s and 100s for the highs, and much more extreme here, but these also do just fine where I'm living. The difference is that a lot of the winters you're cutting these back. The growth will get burned by the frost, and so during the winter you cut these back, and in the spring they'll do a nice big push. I recommend feeding these in late winter around March so that the plant has the energy to do that nice push. And then these would tend to, if you're doing the cutback cycle and you're in a colder area, these are kind of a midsummer to all the way through fall bloomer. By the coast, this was taken in the spring, and you can see there's a pretty nice bloom going on even in the spring, whereas in the colder areas you don't even have an entire plant by this point. So one of the beautiful things about salvias in California by the coast is you get way more bloom out of them because you don't have the burn back from the winter. So I like using these in perennial borders or combined with other shrubs. This pairs well with some interesting plants, which you'll see at the end of this video. We're showing you some companion plants, and really just nice for hummingbird. They're great at attracting hummingbirds. Most salvias are, and as you can see here, it pairs well nicely with Coleonema pulchrum. That's on the left there. That's Pink Breath of Heaven. And on the other side of the fence is Coleonema Sunset Gold, and that's a nice chartreuse yellow foliage that pairs well also. So that's what I can tell you about. So full sun for these. In hot inland valleys you can do some part shade, but if you're not in a very hot area, if you want the best bloom out of these, I would recommend full sun for these. And drought tolerance, not so much. Salvias in general are drought tolerant. A lot of these originate from Mexico, so parts of Mexico that are fairly drought, that's an issue of low water. So, but I would say for these to look their best, some semi-regular water once established, they're going to look better for you. I'm not really that certain of how drought tolerant this is because we haven't had to find out, but I would tell you in my garden all my salvias do better with semi-regular water, so I'll call them low water but not quite drought tolerant to be looking their best. And that is Salvia mexicana Limelight, and to follow are some really nice companion plants to think about. Enjoy.